20, we are going to try to play humans again. This is my recent take on Matt Murray's humans list. I think since I played it last night, we made a couple changes since last night. I took out the extra cannonball and prelate in the board for some containment priests. I switched a land for a Caracas in the main, and then I also took out one of the other cantripping lands for a Ruby. That way I just have more ways to play Thalia on turn 1. I just felt like a lot of the time I wanted to be able to play maximum Thalias on turn 1, so full artifact suite. Besides that, pretty straightforward. It's a little bit more aggro than a typical vintage humans list. You're playing a lot of tribal synergy with Thalia's Lieutenant, Mayor of Aberbrook, General Kudro of Dranith. But you also get to play like some of the really powerful human haymakers versus Xerox and PO. So pretty cool deck. Try to see if we can do it justice in the challenge today. Alright, so round 1 versus Snappy. Snappy's usually on some kind of blue deck. I don't think this hand is like terrible per se, but it's really banking. I mean, it's pretty likely that our Once Upon a Time finds us a green source for one of these, or a white source. It's just like no disruption, but that's okay. It's a difficult balance between like you want an aggro draw, which is obviously this is an aggro draw, but you also need like some disruption. I mean, we do have a wasteland. I think I want a mulligan. No, this Once Upon a Time. All right, let's think about it. The Once Upon a Time does find us a cavern, I guess. That's the best play. Or I guess what's the chance our Once Upon a Time resolves is also a question. And worst comes to worst, we could even just wasteland on turn 1 and then hold the Once Upon a Time. This is probably a keep. We have so many mana sources in our deck. I haven't done much considering of anything, but that card sounds very hard to cast in this deck. I also just don't think that card's very good, unfortunately. I actually think I have to cast this Once Upon a Time now, because if they know what our hand is, then they're more likely to counter this Once Upon a Time. They're starting to wise up and do it more often. Holy shit, we whiffed. I think that's pretty impressive. I'm gonna take this Sanctum Prelate. And then we're gonna pray for mana. I can't believe we whiffed. That's 6, so we're gonna go 6 cards deep looking for... I don't know. Seems like pretty crazy. Well, now they're gonna fetch around Wasteland. We might just lose, though. Can't believe just no hits. Like, not even a Wasteland. Like, a bad hit. I was really hoping for a Cavern is what I was hoping for. That would give us a lot of power. Oh, an opponent doesn't have any fetch lands, so that's good. So we, at the very least, if we don't find a land, we can just Wasteland this island. So that's not the worst thing that's ever happened. It's unfortunate we can't draw that Black Lotus that we put on the bottom of the library. Bottom is a good sign as well. That means they're like looking for lands, likely. So if I draw a Cavern, I'll play a champion. Ooh, okay, so I found an unclaimed territory. I think the thing that makes the most sense is actually to play a Noble Hierarch. Is that weird? That way I set up for like a 2 creature play next turn and a wasteland. I think that makes the most sense to me. It's a little slow, but it lets us do more, basically. Obviously, this doesn't constrict our opponent, but I think that's okay. I think it's more important that we have access to a couple spells this turn. Jet doesn't do much, but I could go champion Mayor this turn if I wanted to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lead with this Wasteland and see what happens. Nothing happens. I think I just want to go champion. Or maybe, yeah, I think champion makes the most sense. I do want to start pressuring them, and it looked like they had no interaction. Like, if they had a bolt, they probably would have bolted. It's something. That's for sure. It is something. Next turn, we could prelate on one here. On then probably be... Right, they don't have any more land drops. Alright, I'm definitely going to jam a Thalia here, as well as a Noble Hierarch, and just go for the throat. Alright, we drew the Force of Will with the Thalia. Next turn, we have access to Prelate. If we hit a land, we have Prelate and Mayor. These things are really large already. And by really large, I mean it's a 3-3 and a 2-2, but, like, it's large enough, basically. So, they missed a land drop, which puts us in a good place. The preordained bottoming was really nice for us. We're pretty close to lethal, right? If we play just Mayor off lands, then we have 4 extra damage, and then... Snappy hits us with the my draws were abysmal. Well, get wrecked. Alright, so we still don't know exactly what Snappy's doing. But we saw Volcanic Island and Cantrip things, so that makes me not want to do anything crazy. It could be Breach or PO. So, like, there's some chance that we want Collector Oof or Silence. Snappy, like, plays a variety of blue decks. And I'm pretty sure the last one that they played was just, like, blue-red aggro. I don't want to, like, board in cards that are not really going to help us. So I think I just want to run this back. And then if it turns out they're on a combo version of Xerox, then we can adjust in game 3. We have to think of some fun things to do in between rounds, because we might have a lot of wait time in between rounds this tournament. I don't know what you're talking about. There's a Sapphire right here. Mana Confluence produces blue. I don't know. I haven't decided. I might want to just brew something. I guess maybe we can direct challenge after I figure out some kind of brew. I think I want to brew something today. I'm not 100% sure that what I want to do. I kind of wish that I could, like, I don't know. I kind of want to do something with, like, Experimental Frenzy. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like Experimental Frenzy today. That doesn't get Pyroblasted, so. What if we make some kind of, like, Veil of Summer Experimental Frenzy combo deck? Nah, I'm probably gonna start brewing after the match, Jake. This hand's great. I'm down. You get some nice F6 value with this deck too, which is always a positive. Please excuse my rudeness. Streamers have to eat too. I probably have to turn the AC on at some point too, so we'll have to figure out if the background noise works well with the audio. I'm not 100% sure. I usually just don't stream with the AC on. I just put the AC on before and after, but it's hot today. All right, opponent, what you got for me? 6-card hand. Delta. Lotus. What else? What else? Do it. Play a Dak Faden. Jace? Dak Faden? Mentor? Mentor's really bad for us. Lavinia. That's annoying. Because I have Lavinia and then Scroll for Ancestral. It's really bad. Opponent only has 2 cards other than Ancestral in hand. It might be able to keep them off Ancestral by Wastelanding here. But Lavinia is really annoying because it's going to keep us from like truly deploying. But I think I don't know if they have a land. I think I'm down to try to Wasteland and see if I can't keep them off Ancestral for a little bit while I re-establish my position. Let's see. If they have a land, then we're probably just dead. Because they just did too much for on turn 1, I think. They could always draw a bunch of garbage, but we're so far behind because of the turn 1 Lavinia stopping our 2, our turn 1 Thalia. That's not a bad draw, though. Maybe if we just deploy the humans every turn, everything will work out. We don't really have a choice. So this either means they're on Jeskai or Breach. I guess it technically could still be PO as well. Knowing Snappy, I would think it'd just be like Jeskai Control. We'll have to see though. Jeskai Control, this deck should beat up on, but at the same time, if they're playing like 7 bolts and swords, then it gets difficult. Ponder and a fetch land is a good one too. Opponent had a strong start. That's a strong 6-card on the play hand. Lavinia and Scroll for Ancestral. Shuffle is good for us though. Yes, that is correct. If I play my Thalia first, then it costs 1 more, and that means I paid mana for a spell, so I will get to deploy the Moxes, but the Moxes are only really useful in deploying early Thalias, typically. I also think this Thalia is getting Force of Willed, but that's a different problem. I'm definitely going to play a Thalia here, then maybe next turn we could go Champion Dark Confidant. But I think Thalia makes the most sense right now. Looks like we're getting... something's happening. Oh, it is an Underground Sea, so this is probably Breach then. Okay, so are you going to put a Lightning Bolt on the top of your library? Is that what you're planning to do here? This is... or I guess if... we don't die if the Thalia resolves. Because they can put Breach on the top of their library. And they have Lotus Ancestral. And Scroll for Brain Freeze, which gets annoying. But our Thalia resolves, so they probably just want to put like Lightning Bolt on the top of their library. So we need to change our board plan in game 3. We're going to want to add these Deafening Silences. And we might want to add Collector Oof as well. I assume they just got a Lightning Bolt for the Thalia, though. Yeah, if they ever have a Breach here, we're pretty dead. But we don't really have any more ways to fight it currently. I mean, we could draw like a General to start like exiling things. That would be pretty good. They only have 3 cards remaining. Oh, we drew a General. I do think I'm just going to jam the General here. I want to get rid of this Black Lotus from his yard. Hope this resolves. Obviously, like, not getting rid of lightning bolt's a little annoying, because they could go breach bolt my Kudro, but at the very least, they can't just, like, combo kill us with this. Because I think if you just take this Lotus, it's going to be a lot harder for them to combo kill us with a breach. Also, this champion is up to 4 power. That's a lot. And the good thing about playing this now is if they don't kill it, our two creatures next turn will also exile cards from the yard. So we can take the Ancestral and the Lightning Bolt, or say, like, the Merchant Scroll and the Ancestral, and then really stop their ability to breach combo us, which is pretty sick. This card is, like, really been impressive for me. Just being on a Lord, a Graveyard Hate can sometimes kill, like, a Hollow one or an Eldrazi or something. It's just been very, very good for me. Mox Opal. So is it actually just PO, and they've had really weird PO draws? That's kind of interesting. Alright, well, I'm going to start exiling things. I still want to exile Ancestral and Lightning Bolt. I think makes the most sense. Just so, like, we have a better chance of killing our opponent. If they do chump here, they don't have to chump, but then they can't use Flooded Strands anymore. If they do chump here, we can draw a card off of our Horizon Canopy. They might PO for 2. Is another thing they might do. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to definitely just deploy these now. I don't think there's any reason to draw a card now. There's nothing that we could draw that we would... We already played a land, right? Yeah, so there's nothing we could draw, so there's really no reason to draw right now. All we would have is an open black mana that doesn't cast anything. Sure. So this is good news that if they're on PO, because it means they don't have a lot of delve spells in their deck, usually 1 tops. So it doesn't. The graveyard isn't threatening us super much right now. Even with a Yogwill, it's not a very strong graveyard because we took the Black Lotus and the Ancestral. Brainstorm with a fetch land is good though. This general did a lot of work this game. Probably like one of the best possible cards we could have top decked. Really impressive. We have like very lethal as well. They might balance us, but I don't think I would have played any differently. A Mentor would still be annoying, but it might just be too late. 3 cards in hand. I guess if their 3 cards are like Mana Crypt, Mox, PO, that would be bad. Pop is not a big deal though. I think they're probably dead here with no Lotus in their deck. So if they spin the top, find a Mana Crypt that's only 3 mana, unless they already have the Mana Crypt in their hand, in which case they're trying to spin for a PO, which they would need Mox, PO, and then one of the 3 cards they draw is top. It's probably not going to work out. Alright. So we didn't even see our opponent do any artifact things in game 1. And we didn't board any of our anti-PO cards in, and we just attacked them with Champions of the Parish, and they died. Which you love to see. We take those. I forgot to mention that I was streaming. Man, you know? Wait a minute. I got really salty last night, huh? That was pretty bad. I blame the beer, but